You're listening to Murder, Not Murdering with Erin,
and Autumn,
a true crime podcast about murder and murdering.
but we are not murderers.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Murder, Not Murdering.
With Erin and Autumn.
With us.
The most amazing podcasters ever.
You're maybe taking it too far.
Don't deflate my bubble.
I will not deflate your bubble.
Okay, good, because that would be very disappointing.
Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. Did you have something to say?
I did.
Okay.
It was about Jeffrey Dahmer, and then I got kind of sick to my stomach when I was thinking about him for a second.
We do need to address this because so many people have been asking us if we've seen the series on Netflix. And do you mind if I tell my perspective first?
Of course.
You do mind? Okay, cool.
I always mind, so doesn't stop you.
Yeah, my whole thing is, I can watch the gnarliest documentaries, but to see a dramatization of it was a little bit much for me.
Same.
And I have to say, there's something about making that dramatization and showing you like what they assumed happened or what they're trying to recreate from people's testimonies and interviews. It just, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, it is brilliantly acted. Everyone's great in it. And that's good and all. But I saw some families talking about it who had been relatives of the victims. And, they're just ripping open old wounds and having characters like playing them on screen was really painful for them. So then I saw it from that perspective too. And then that changed things also. I did watch the first episode, which was creepy as fuck. I mean, it's not like I didn't know what was going to happen. It's just I don't necessarily need to see it acted out.
Same. That is my exact same thing. Like, I'm able to watch documentaries and I like to research things, but seeing it acted out so vividly and realistically was just too much for me, and obviously too much for the families of the victims as well. I've heard multiple situations where they felt uncomfortable. Some of those actors and actresses looked so much like the real people.
Oh my God, they were great. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it was like really well acted. It's Ryan Murphy. It's always going to be good. But that was a no from me.
Same. I can't get past the first episode. I'm really sorry to disappoint everyone, but
I can watch 1,000 things with facts and and even real video and all of that. It just was a little bit much.
I agree. I can't get into that one. I'm really sorry.
No, and I always put myself in like victim shoes. So then I'm like, oh God, it's just that was a lot.
Agreed.
But I'm really glad we're back and recording right now.
Me too. I've missed it.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has. It's been enough time to where your daughter makes fun of our intro.
That's true. I mean, we've mentioned it before. She does make us sound like Valley Girls every time.
Pretty entertaining.
She's never heard the podcast, obviously. No. She's 9.
Right.
But it's definitely a thing where she's heard the intro, just where us saying like, welcome to Murder Not Murdering with Erin and Autumn. But she does it like, welcome to Murder Not Murdering with Erin and Autumn.
It's pretty funny.
That is not how we sound.
I agree. We don't sound like
that. But
that.
what if it is? What if that is how we sound?
Oh man, we got schooled by a 9-year-old.
And I can't believe anybody would listen to us if we sounded like that.
No, that would be pretty irritating, I would think.
Yeah, I would find it really irritating.
But Lulu thinks we sound like that.
There are some podcasts that I struggle through. Like I like the banter. I like the way that the cases they do and everything, but then there'll be like a Midwest accent and it's like freaking nails on a chalkboard for me.
I also have a really hard time with people who sound congested or like they need to swallow their spit.
Yeah. There's
That's a
also
hard one for me.
There's also when people cover cases from Seattle and they mispronounce the names of the cities.
Oh, that's
It
awful.
drives me crazy.
Same.
Or Washington, I mean, and they mispronounce everything. And to be true, we do not have the easiest of names sometimes
No.
for our places, and I get that.
Puyallup is
But
a really hard one for people.
almost always I look up like the city names if they're in my case, if I'm like unsure of how to pronounce it, and then I'll listen to something pronouncing it, or I'll look up like how it's supposed to be pronounced just in case. I don't want to like offend anyone.
No, I put good effort into it. It's not always going to be perfect, but I agree that you and I do put some effort
I have to
into
be
it.
honest, when you did the Japanese case, I was super impressed with you.
It took a while, I'm not going to lie. I went on like Google Translate and stuff and listened to them say the names a
Yeah.
couple times. It was pretty challenging, but I wanted to do the best I could.
We put in the effort, y'all.
We do. We put in the effort for you.
I don't know why I said y'all.
I don't know.
That was weird. Maybe feeling cute, might edit it out later. All right. So this week, Autumn's going to go first, and then it's going to be me. Oh, I did want to mention something. Sometimes, life happens and we don't have an episode every week. When that does happen, if you guys could let us know via info@murdernotmurdering.com or Instagram DM on our Murder Not Murdering page. If you're interested, I did a little mini-sode of Wine and Crime Time with Erin. I might do that again if you guys are interested. So let us know so that we know if we should do it again. And we'll just put that in as a little filler.
Yes. So sorry, guys, because we both have full-time jobs.
Yes.
In addition to this. And so sometimes it can get a little bit challenging to find time to record and write stories and do the research, but it is a passion project for us and we are trying to get more consistent again. So hopefully we put out more episodes a month.
I think the research part takes a really long time.
It does.
Or at least for me.
I don't think people realize, not saying that our fans are like this, but I don't think people realize how long it takes to actually research a case and then write it.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of man hours and
I can do
time.
the research part. It's the writing part that also takes a really long time. And I always have to triple check my facts and it can get lengthy.
Yes, 100%. And sometimes there's not a lot of information out there, especially for you with your older cases.
Yeah.
So it can take a long time to find what you're looking for.
Yeah, it does take a long time. But that search history, though.
I know.
She's sketchy.
I'm putting it out there. If anyone ever seizes our computers, do not think that we killed people because, I mean, it looks very, very, very suspicious.
Mine's like 1900s dismemberments.
Right? Like how long does it take for someone to die after being poisoned? It's like, oh my God, like why are you Googling these things?
I research all different types of poisons. I mean, it's in there. It's definitely there.
Where to find a body. Like how many people come across bodies? It's never a mannequin.
How fast does quicklime work?
Yes, stuff like that. I mean, these are real weird questions. I agree, but they are necessary when you host a murder podcast.
Exactly. All right. Why don't we jump right into it?
Okay, so my story is Dottie Caylor. On Wednesday, June 12th, 1985, 41-year-old Dorothy Mae Resnick Caylor, who went by Dottie, was dropped off by her husband, Jewel Caylor, at the BART, which stands for Bay Area Rapid Transit.
Oh, I've ridden on BART.
Station in Pleasant Hill, California. Dottie purchased a ticket. She had told her husband she planned on visiting a friend in California and had packed an overnight bag. He watched her walk inside the building with her turquoise leather purse containing her medical card and a bee sting kit. This wasn't any normal trip for Dottie. She suffered from agoraphobia, which is an irrational, overwhelming fear of being in public places.
Yeah. Amazing that she could leave.
This was a very big step for her. No one knows for certain if she actually boarded that train. The only thing that is known for sure is that there has been no trace of her ever since that day. Around noon the next day, Jewel returned home from working in San Francisco and got off at the Concord BART station. In the parking lot, he was surprised to find Dottie's Volkswagen next to his car. When he looked inside, he noticed that her purse was in the passenger seat. Inside her purse was her driver's license, a current Diablo Valley College student ID card, $30 in cash, a library card, and a monogrammed off-white leather billfold. The bee sting kit was missing, and there was no sign of Dottie. All of her loved ones agreed it was very uncharacteristic of her to leave her purse behind, as it was a safety blanket for her and she never went anywhere without it. Jewel left a note on Dottie's car, asking her to contact him, because this was before cell phones.
Yeah.
Over the next 4 days, he left 2 more notes, talking about problems he was having with the house. He also expressed his love and pleaded with her to come home. Authorities have stated that the notes he wrote started in an affectionate manner, saying he was worried about her, then transitioned into him accusing Dottie of messing up his life by refusing to sign loan papers.
Oh, wow.
He also told the authorities that he hid her purse under the seat, locked the doors, and moved the car so she would not receive a parking ticket. He told investigators that the car remained in its spot until June 14th when he moved the car again. Jewel claimed that after the first few days, he assumed that she had temporarily left to make things inconvenient for him. Her sister, Diane, agreed at first that it was possible that she could disappear to get even with him, since he had disappeared on her for half of their married life. However, she does not believe that she could do that for a long period of time and not contact any of her loved ones. Her friends and family wondered why a woman so afraid of the unknown would leave everything she had and everyone she knew. At first, they thought she may have left to escape an unhappy marriage and start a new life in another city. However, as the months and years elapsed, there was no word from her. Holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries went by. Now, her friends and her family are wondering if she may have actually met with foul play. They also wonder if Jewel may have something to do with her disappearance. He, however, maintained his innocence. Dorothy Mae Resnick was born in Chardon, Ohio. She was raised Catholic and loved to read and write. She attended secretarial school after graduating high school and got a job as a legal secretary. She met Dottie Caylor in 1970. Dottie and Jewel married in 1975. He was an entomologist and an aerial photography specialist with the National Forest Service. They settled into married life in Oakland, a suburb of Concord, California. Over the years, however, Dottie's home became a self-imposed prison. According to Jewel, her agoraphobia caused her to stay inside most of the time. He stated that she wouldn't even apply for a job, much less be able to hold one down. Their marriage deteriorated. She was often home alone because he was working out of town over 50% of the time. On Thanksgiving in 1981, there was a report of domestic violence between Dottie and Jewel. Dottie told her friend Paula that they had gotten into an argument. According to her, it escalated to the point where he finally hit her with a board or a similar object, and she received a wound to her head. She then grabbed a pair of scissors to protect herself and told him to get away from her. He, however, claimed that she started the fight. He claimed that she stood over him with the scissors, swearing at him and saying that she would kill him.
Wow.
I know. He claimed that he hit her with her typing stand in self-defense. In 1984, Dottie joined a support group called Women in Transition. She hid this from her husband, never telling Jewel. It was a group for domestic violence survivors.
Ah.
Dottie attended meetings for over a year. Her friends in the group felt that she made a tremendous amount of progress over the year. They noticed that she began to make changes to her appearance. She added more color to her outfits, took better care of her hair, and even cut it in a new style, which was particularly challenging for her. Dottie wasn't comfortable with change or the unknown. Jewel claimed that he knew nothing about her secret life after she disappeared. However, he did say that he was suspicious of her. Dottie secretly rented a post office box so she could receive mail without Jewel's knowledge. She opened a personal bank account and transferred $5,000 into a cashier's check. She applied for credit cards in her own name and asked a friend to keep a locked file cabinet with her important documents. In this cabinet was a $5,000 cashier's check. This check was due to expire in a few months. 1 month before she disappeared, Jewel told her he had to accept a job transfer to Salt Lake City. According to him, she said that in the event that he got transferred, she was not interested in going with him. Dottie's family said that she planned to stay in Concord and planned to divorce Jewel, stating that they agreed that she would pay him for his half of the house, and when he moved to Utah, she would own the house in Concord. She had already packed up his possessions and had put them in storage. She had told her sister that Jewel had threatened her during this time, but he, of course, denies that.
Of course he does.
Of course. After she had been missing for 4 days, friends and family talked to Jewel and asked if he had gone to the police. He told them he had not. They urged him to do so and report her missing. On June 17th, 5 days after Dottie disappeared, Jewel filed a missing persons report with the BART police. He reported her missing, despite the fact that he said he wasn't expecting her to return home until June 24th. The following day, the BART police notified the Concord Police Department. So he didn't notify them. The BART police did.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Right. Jewel did not stick around to see if Dottie came back. Within 2 weeks of her going missing, he packed up and relocated to Utah. He packed the majority of Dottie's personal belongings and put them in storage, repainted the inside of the house, and put it up for rent. However, he signed the rent agreement on June 7th, which was 5 days before he last saw Dottie. Although he told her family that he was forced to put the house up for rent because her signature was required to sell it.
Yeah, so another lie.
Mm-hmm. When Jewel and Dottie had first met, Jewel used a false name because he was already married and had a 5-year-old daughter. Even more concerning, at the time of her disappearance, he was engaged to another woman, a co-worker, for about 6 months, and was frustrated that Dottie would be living in their old house and he would have to pay alimony. He referenced in one of the letters he left on her car that she was the one that had encouraged him to seek out other women, which I find to be highly unlikely.
I don't believe it for a minute.
No, and it kind of has the undertones of the Scott Peterson thing where he had another woman and he was engaged and all that stuff. It
I
just
could
kind
see
of
that.
reminds me of that. Dottie's sister Diane hired a private investigator by the name of Francie Kohler. Based on her findings, she is certain that foul play was involved in Dottie's disappearance. No new leads ever came about, and Diane and Francie strongly believed that Dottie was not missing, that she was deceased. Francie named Jewel as a suspect, noting that they cannot be certain that Dottie ever made it to the BART station, that Jewel was the only person that claims to have seen her there. No witnesses came forward stating they had seen her that day. Jewel stated he is not bothered by the fact that he is considered a possible suspect in her disappearance. He states that she either willingly disappeared and was then helped to permanently disappear, or met with foul play at the hands of an unknown person. Jewel wrote his fiancée a letter after his wife's disappearance, saying that he had made a Herculean effort to be with her, which she might not understand, and that he would do anything for her, even commit murder.
Oh, surprise.
Right? These statements frightened her so much that she broke things off with him and never contacted him again. Good for her, because that's
most definitely.
creepy.
She chose well.
Yes. Fast forward to 1998. The police received a letter postmarked Gary, Indiana, and in the letter, it accused Jewel of murdering Dottie. The letter stated that Jewel had beaten Dottie to death with a tire iron and buried her body under a birch tree in a remote area of Concord, where new homes were being built. The letter allegedly included a map to the burial location. Investigators were able to determine that the saliva on the stamp and used to seal the envelope were that of a male, but were not able to match it to anyone. They had a handwriting expert examine the letter, and it was believed to be similar to Jewel's handwriting.
No.
But there was no definitive match. The author of the letter has never been identified.
Except for we know who it is.
Right? Excuse me, Jewel. Good try, bro.
Yeah.
In the summer of 2001, 16 years after Dottie disappeared, and this is going to piss you off.
Oh, no.
A reporter for the Contra Costa Times named Joan Morris interviewed Jewel. Jewel told Joan that he had forgotten about his wife's disappearance.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's easy to forget.
So crazy. I just don't even remember.
Yeah. No, wait, what wife?
Right? Oh, I had a wife? I've had so many, I don't know.
I don't like that at all.
Saying that he assumed Dottie was dead. He changed his story about the day of her disappearance, claiming that he never drove Dottie to the BART station that day, that he thought she had drove herself. This contradiction prompted the Concord authorities to reopen the case in August of 2001.
Good.
Hoping to uncover new leads in her disappearance. Jewel never requested for Dottie to be declared legally dead, and she never touched any of the money she saved in her bank account. However, when Jewel retired, he filed for divorce from Dottie on the grounds of desertion. A judge granted the divorce and awarded all the marital property to Jewel.
That's very frustrating.
Diane Resnick, Dottie's sister, filed a lawsuit, and the divorce was set aside. Good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
The Utah judge subsequently ruled that Dottie was dead at the time Jewel sought the divorce, so there was no marriage to dissolve. Resnick has filed the lawsuit against Jewel. She requested that Dottie be declared legally dead and Resnick be appointed executor of her estate. A judge found evidence that Dottie was deceased, but the lawsuit has been stalled pending the outcome of the police investigation into her disappearance. In 2004, he was officially named by police as a person of interest in the case.
It's about time.
Shockingly, that same year, Dottie Caylor, at the age of 66, ran as a candidate for the Utah House of Representatives as a Libertarian Party candidate.
What?
I know,
also,
this man.
not shocked. Not shocked at all.
This man. However, he was forced to withdraw from the race when articles began circulating and a new
that he killed his wife,
right? And a new interest was sparked in the case. A 140-page search warrant affidavit was filed in Contra Costa County Superior Court. That's such a hard word. With 29 reasons why police suspected that Dottie was killed by Jewel. Some of the reasons the police noted include allegations by Dottie that Jewel was violent and abusive toward her, Dottie telling friends and family that she was afraid of him, Jewel's secret engagement to another woman 6 months prior to Dottie's disappearance. Jewel reported Dottie missing on June 19th, even though he told the police that he had not expected her to return until June 24th.
Yeah.
Jewel signing a contract on June 7th to put their Concord house up for rent, even though he told the police and others that he had been forced to rent it after she disappeared because her signature was required to sell or mortgage it. The implausibility of Jewel's story about finding Dottie's car parked next to his in the BART parking lot. A strange letter written by an unknown individual, possibly Jewel, that describes
Perhaps.
right, that describes how Jewel killed Dottie and buried her body in a remote area. In 2005, police searched Jewel and Dottie's old home for evidence. However, nothing was found. And
It had been so long.
I know. Nothing was found and no charges have ever been filed.
What? I assumed like by now they would look up the DNA on the stamp and figure out it was him.
One would think.
Ugh.
If she is alive, she would be 78 years old as of the date of this podcast.
I hope she is.
I know. I hope she got away from him.
I hope she's like living her best life and is like, whatever. I live in the Caymans.
Right?
Suck it.
Like, I hope Jewel gets all this bad publicity. Ha 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 ha. Like,
yeah, I doubt it.
I
but
know. It's so crazy. It's just
I wish that was the case.
It's so weird. Like, what a straight, like, and the fact that he's never been charged, this is so
it makes
suspicious.
Me so angry.
Yes. It's like, what the hell else could have happened to her? They're all, I don't have words. My sources were Unsolved Mysteries, Unsolved Mysteries Fandom, and the Charlie Project.
You are Unsolved Mysteries fandom.
I know. I should be the president.
You should be the president. Wow. Well, that was a roller coaster. I'm so mad right now.
I know. I think the part that's so frustrating to me is that clearly
he's very, very involved in this.
And the fact that he has had literally no consequences for this is mind-blowing.
It makes me so angry.
Remarried, was thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to run for a political position. Like,
maybe he forgot. He did forget that his wife went missing and never showed up again.
That's right. That's super normal, right? That's so
totally
normal. If you went missing,
I would forget that.
Yeah, if you went missing, I don't know if I'd ever remember you again.
With that little blip in time?
Come on. I mean, yeah. So strange. I just had to tell her story because it's mind-blowing to me that we're in the day and age we are and he's still out there just living his best life.
Well, that's why it's good that we said his name a whole lot of times.
Yes, Dottie Caylor.
Yeah, Dottie Caylor.
We're on to you.
We know what you did.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break.
On that note, on to the next.
We're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be back with my case. And we are back. That was a really good one, but I am kind of shocked because we are so close in our cases this time around.
Why do we always do this?
I don't know, but this one is like probably, I would say, the most. Outside of the America's Most Wanted episode, I think this is probably the closest we've been.
I'm ready for it.
Good, because I'm starting.
You piqued my interest.
All right. The year is 1993. Claire Morris thought she was marrying the man of her dreams. Claire's brother Peter said he seemed like a gentleman. He seemed like a person that Claire would be interested in, and it didn't take long for her to fall for him. Claire Morris was a nurse dedicated to her profession. Her friends always spoke highly of her. They marveled at what she had accomplished. She was from Aberdeenshire in Scotland and moved to London to study and further her nursing career. She was very driven and put relationships on the back burner. But while at a party, she met a charming gentleman named Malcolm Webster. The day after they met, he brought her flowers and gifts. It seemed like something beautiful was brewing. Malcolm Webster did not grow up in a loving family. His father was very tough on him. From multiple accounts, his father was very domineering and abusive, verbally if not physically. From when he was a child, it was documented that he was known to be attention-seeking, and he also was nicknamed Pyro by the age of 7, as he was known to be enthralled with fire and lighting fires. Which also, you're 7. Why do you have access to matches or lighters? Yikes.
Could you imagine even Lucy
No.
being 9 years old having access to
Hell
something
no.
like that? That's
Mm-mm.
terrifying.
One other thing to note, like I said, he needed attention and he seemed to fake illnesses for sympathy. And it was more of a true need that he had to do these, to fake these illnesses. Hearing this made me feel really sad for him as a child. Doing whatever he could to be seen, that broke my heart. Over the years, his ailments went from fainting to more serious illness, such as epilepsy, asthma, brain tumor, heart attack, etc. And I'll get to the etc. Getting sympathy was the easiest way to deflect from other things. He was not a good student and struggled to learn, but he decided to follow in his mother's footsteps and study to be a nurse. And his job at the hospital is what brought him to Claire and that party. 2 years into their relationship, you start to see that Claire was not just Malcolm's girlfriend, but also his financial supporter. He then gets Claire to change her will and list him as the sole beneficiary. The thing is, this happened before they were married, and she wasn't concerned. They were in a committed relationship, but to me, that seems highly suspect. I mean, we research murder for fun. So, obviously I would find that if Josh was like, hey, we just started dating, make me the sole beneficiary of your will, I'd be like, fuck you. No way. You're going to kill me for sure.
Also, I'd be like, what? I don't have a lot of money, so why are you're barking up the wrong tree?
Oh my God, for real though. I'd be like, yeah, you can have my 1 packet of top ramen that's been there for 6 months. You're welcome.
Don't turn on the heat, please. Thank you.
Don't turn on the heat. Oh, you can scrape the freezer burn off of Tony's pizza.
Yeah.
There it is.
But don't eat all of them, please.
Oh no, 10
Save
for 10.
one for me.
10 for 10, man. That was my deal. Anyway, eventually they did marry in 1993. They had a very happy wedding. It was a traditional Scottish ceremony and everyone saw how happy they were. But a few people noted that on occasion he could be a little controlling over her. In fact, one time he said, take your hands out of your pocket in some film from the wedding. And her brother said, had I said that to her, she would have told me to fuck off. Like, she would never have been fine with that. So, it's worth noting that he had a way of being controlling over her. Once they were married, he started taking out life insurance policies on her. He took out 1, then 2, and then another 1. With all these policies, if she died, he would be awarded a lot of money. Claire and Malcolm moved back to Scotland, away from her family and friends in London. Claire went back to school, but then she started to fall ill. She was very tired all the time. After they had been married for 2 years, Claire started to have blackouts. She would also have bouts of dizziness. Her family and friends were growing very concerned, and Claire herself was worried about her health. Malcolm would minimize her symptoms and act like it wasn't a big deal. He was successfully gaslighting her. At this point, Claire had 10 life insurance policies out on her and a sizable mortgage protection policy. Yeah, he wasn't wasting any time.
No, and it seems honestly, I wonder how many insurance policies you can have out on one human.
I don't know. It was the 90s, so things may have changed since then.
True.
The other thing is, she was not aware of them.
Right, which is even scarier.
Yeah. 3 to 4 months later, Malcolm bought a car. They had gone out to a remote area in the Scottish Highlands. He convinced her to go with him to the city of Aberdeen, about 15 to 16 miles from their home, to drop off some paperwork for a project he had been working on. He had given her sedatives without her knowledge, to be precise, temazepam, which we'll come to know is his drug of choice to make sure she was asleep. He carried her to the car. He put the seat down so no one would have seen them in the car together, and he proceeded to drive the car to the site and slowly drive the car into a tree to make it look like he had swerved and hit it at a high speed. We now know that Malcolm had visited the area of the accident a few times just days before from eyewitnesses. He was scoping out the area where he would commit the crime. Once the car was crashed, he made sure his new wife was burned alive. He put gas in the car and set it on fire. People stopped to help, but he made sure Claire was so well doused that she wouldn't have been able to be saved. Peter Morris recalled this. Her skull was welded to the back of the chair at the front. Some wonderful firemen had to do their very best to get what was left of her body.
Ugh.
Malcolm's plan had worked. It looked like an accident and that the car had caught on fire. The authorities investigated it and reported it as a tragic accident. He played the grieving widower very well. He even wore a neck brace to the funeral. Malcolm became very wealthy from Claire's death. He accumulated around 200,000 pounds, which would have been 380 pounds now. But within 6 months of Claire's accident, he was empty at the bank. He had grown accustomed to a lavish lifestyle and began looking for his next victim. He meets Felicity Drum, a New Zealander, at a dinner party in Saudi Arabia in 1996. I do want to note that Malcolm worked in a hospital at the children's ward in Abu Dhabi, and within 6 months he was forced to resign following an investigation into the deaths of 3 children under his care. All 3 children had been under the age of 6 and died of cardiac failure, which was very unusual for the children of that age, also with their ailments. Due to Islamic culture forbidding postmortems and the preference of a quick burial, there wasn't any evidence for a police investigation. A former coworker said that he discovered that Malcolm had been injecting himself with insulin regularly, despite the fact that he is not diabetic.
Oh my God.
And they suspected that's also how he killed the children. He denies any of this, because of course he does. Malcolm proposed to Felicity in January 1997. A few months later, they moved to Auckland, New Zealand. He started the same pattern with Felicity, slowly drugging her, making her feel ill. The day after they got married, he gave her a huge dose of sedatives, and she actually slept for 36 hours. Then he was back to his old tricks. He got her to change her will to make him the sole beneficiary, suggested they move to Scotland, again separating her from her family and friends. But this time was different. Felicity became pregnant. He continued to give her drugs throughout her entire pregnancy. He's a nurse, right? He knows better.
Right, 100%.
Miraculously, they do have a healthy baby boy. Then in 1998, their home burnt down in a catastrophic fire. They all escaped, but had to move back to New Zealand with Felicity's parents. Malcolm is suspected of 2 house fires in Scotland and Felicity's parents' home in New Zealand. After the fire at her parents' house, they needed a new place to live. Felicity started looking for a new house, but unbeknownst to her, Malcolm had emptied their entire joint bank accounts. They were heading to the bank one morning to discuss their finances and home loans, and Malcolm knew she was going to find out what he had done. He starts saying on the drive that the steering is acting weird and pulling. He said that it's getting even harder to keep it under control, especially at high speeds. He almost hits a pole on the passenger side, but Felicity manages to pull the wheel. They did crash, but it wasn't very bad. He yelled at her to stay in the car. She didn't know that there were cans filled with gas in the back. Luckily, a patrol car spots them and checks to see if they're okay. That's when Malcolm fakes a heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah, piece of shit. Felicity went with him to the hospital, missing that meeting at the bank. The car was towed, and Felicity's sister went to the mechanic, who tells her there's absolutely nothing wrong with the steering or the car. Then they found the cans of gas in the back and a cigarette lighter, but no one in the family smoked. Now her family is becoming very suspicious of Malcolm. But what is Malcolm to do? He stages another car crash with Felicity heavily sedated. Luckily, Felicity had her cell phone with her, and her father called her, waking her up out of her stupor. That phone call saved her life. Her family grew very suspicious and urged Felicity to look at her financials. She found forged insurance policies and many transactions moving around money. Felicity decided at that point she had to go to the police. With the mounting pressure and questions from police, Malcolm fled back to Scotland. He basically resumes his life as normal. Then he meets Christina Willis in 2002, and they began a relationship. He consistently borrowed money from her and never paid her back. But this time, he also told her he had cancer.
Of course he does.
He did persuade her to make a will in his name and give him power of attorney. But then he met Simone Bangery, a nurse at a nearby hospital who was also independently wealthy. So he left Christina for her. Obvi. He preyed on Simone's sympathy, telling her he had leukemia, and went as far as to go to chemotherapy appointments. He didn't actually go to these, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But he did shave his head and his eyebrows so she wouldn't suspect anything. He also dropped weight rapidly to keep up the lie. He told Simone that he wanted to marry her. Remember, he's still married to Felicity in New Zealand right now.
Of course he is.
He tried to get her to write him in her will as sole beneficiary. He proposed to her and moved in with her, and then started pushing her to do IVF treatments, all while lying about his cancer and using that to manipulate her. Anything to string her along so he could keep having access to her money. Then he started seeing a woman named Brenda Grant. Now, he's still with Simone, too.
Jesus.
He had a relationship with her in 1995 while working in the hospital in Saudi Arabia. They lost touch, but he called her out of the blue in 2005 and told her that he had leukemia. Then things moved fast, and he arranged a romantic trip for them to go to Paris. She had no idea that he was living with Simone. He told Simone that he was in London for chemotherapy treatment while he was on his Paris trip. Now, things hadn't slowed down in New Zealand. Felicity and her family were steadfast to find answers about Malcolm Webster. She realizes that she had suspected she maybe had been drugged. She offers hair, blood, and liver sample to police. It turns out that she had been being drugged for a very long time, and the drug was temazepam. New Zealand police then contacted police in Scotland to tell them that they were looking for a person of interest. They didn't have enough evidence for attempted murder yet, but Scotland police looked into the history, and though they suspected that 12 years prior, Claire Morris may have been killed by her husband, Malcolm, they didn't have enough to reopen the case yet. Felicity's sister, Jane, was visiting the UK on business. By chance, she struck up a conversation with a police officer who just so happened to be attending the same conference that she was at. After their talk, the superintendent called the Scotland police and got them to restart the investigation and dive deeper into it. They started by taking a statement from Jane. This is where all the lies begin to crumble. The police needed more evidence. It just so happens that they had saved a piece of Claire's liver from her original post-mortem back in 1994. In fact, and forgive me for rhyming, it was a sliver of liver.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. But literally, that's how it's described.
Wow.
Luckily, technology had come a long way, and it had shown that there was sedative identified in her liver tissue. They specifically found temazepam, which was also found in Felicity's system. Now the investigation was kicked into full gear. The police found out that two people that had stopped at Claire's car crash site asked if anyone else was in the car, and Malcolm told them no one else is in the car, to make sure that she absolutely could not be saved. Also, he said he swerved to miss a motorcycle, but forensic collision investigators were brought in. They found that he was not traveling at the right speed to have swerved and caused the accident he described. They now know he is the killer. In the meantime, Malcolm had convinced Simone to go on a long, extravagant yacht trip on her boat, and they were about to set sail. Investigators found out about it and needed to intervene. They called an Osmond warning. It is a warning of a death threat or risk of murder issued by British police or authorities to protect potential victim. Later, they would find that her life jacket aboard the boat had been damaged and would not have been able to save her if there was some sort of accident. They warned Simone that she was in a relationship with a dangerous man who had a very scary history. Simone was shocked, but she didn't quite believe it. She confronted Malcolm about the warning. Malcolm panicked. He called the investigators and he said that he heard that they were looking into Claire's death. He was very defensive and yelled at them, "How could you think that I would ever be involved in something like that?" He was very dramatic and over the top, definitely compensating for something.
And very guilty.
Very guilty. This, of course, made investigators only more suspicious of him. They were able to completely disprove his story about the accident with Claire, and they were also able to find out that the fire didn't even start until 15 minutes after the impact, which doesn't add up because by that point, the car should have been cooling down.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Strangely, they found out that the two officers who originally showed up on the scene and the fire investigators suspected something was wrong, and they tried to go up the chain of command, but for some reason, it never went anywhere. Now, remember, it's a small town on a countryside road, so no one was thinking murder could happen there. In February 2009, police arrested Malcolm Webster and charged him with the murder of his first wife, Claire Morris, and the attempted murder of his second wife, Felicity Drum. It was 17 years after Claire's death and over 1,000 interviews for the investigation. And on July 5th, 2011, Malcolm Webster was sentenced to life in prison with the minimum sentence of 30 years. It was the longest criminal trial in Scotland with a single accused. The jury was unanimous. He was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder by a consultant forensic clinical psychologist who had prepared the report prior to his trial. A police officer labeled him a sociopath. Claire and Felicity's families call him a psychopath.
I agree with
I
them.
call him a potential serial killer. Because there's no proof that we have that he killed those kids in Abu Dhabi, and technically he only killed Claire. But he was planning on killing more people, let's be honest.
True, good point.
Also reported in 2011, Malcolm had been attacked by another inmate with a metal pole. Following further attacks, he refused to shower for months on end. And ultimately, he hired a convicted child molester to protect him in prison, further proving what an actual giant piece of shit he is.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, he's terrible. Now, I'm not quite done yet, because following the conviction, Claire's family fought to have the inscription on her original headstone replaced with one that had her maiden name and excluded any reference of her marriage. Her original headstone stated, "With loving thoughts of my dear wife." Ew, firstly.
Gross.
Peter Morris, her brother, argued that it was offensive to have her married name on her headstone, as the marriage was designed to kill her. The council originally informed the family that Malcolm owned the grave, and consequently, they would have to seek his permission to relinquish ownership.
Wow.
Which is so fucked up.
That is so fucked up.
Peter Morris refused, stating, "To change my sister's headstone, I have to go ask his permission to give me the grave. I'm not going to do it. I don't see why I should go cap in hand to a convicted murderer."
No, absolutely not.
But then following the conviction, the council did find Malcolm's contract void and they could change her headstone. And he was banned from being buried alongside of her. Thank God.
No kidding. Like, what the hell?
Malcolm Webster appealed his convictions in 2013, 2014, and 2016, all being rejected for appeal.
Good.
My sources were Wikipedia, The Independent, Daily Record, and the BBC.
Wow, they were really similar.
I know, we both have Black widowers.
So crazy.
And the sisters are our heroes in that story for pushing the investigations.
100%. Wow, they have
So
so much
it's
in
pretty,
common.
it's kind of incredible though. The reason why I wanted to do this case specifically is because I don't think I've had very many cases with survivors.
No, I don't think you have either. I don't think either
No.
of us have.
I pretty much make sure everybody's dead. In the stories, of course.
It's the only way to go. No, just kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, I don't think I've had a lot of cases with survivors, and I just love that there were people that actually were able to get away and were not subject to what happened. You know, Felicity is one of them, obviously, and I think he was planning on killing Simone for sure.
Oh, 100%.
I think he would have killed Christina Willis had he not met Simone. I mean, I think he would have just continued to do this as he had gotten away with it once before.
I think you're correct.
And I think he probably would have done it in other countries.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he would have stopped. He was successful, and that was all that he needed to do to make money, and that was his plan.
I think he was a serial killer. I mean, I think he is a potential serial killer because he's still alive and in prison.
And I hope he never sees the light of day. I hope he doesn't have protection anymore.
He won't see the light of day. He'll be there for life. But I thought it was a really interesting case, kind of a roller coaster. It keeps you going the whole time. And yeah, when I read about it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely doing this one. It's just funny that we both picked Black widowers on this this one episode.
So weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how we keep doing that.
I don't know, but this one's pretty close.
Very close. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah. So that was my case this week, and it's really nice to be back. We will record again next week, and remember to follow us on our Instagram page because we do post pictures of the pieces of garbage that murder people on there.
And the victims.
And the victims. And we give you a little bit more information on there. So do follow us on Instagram at Murder Not Murdering. You can DM us if you have any ideas for cases that you might know or have a personal connection to. We always love hearing about that. Also, if you're interested in me doing some more wine and crime time, just to fill in when we can't quite get to an full episode in a week, let us know. And that's all the things, right? Oh, you can email us at info@murdernotmurdering.com.
And then our birdie code.
And then, yeah, you do the birdie code.
Not Murder 15 is 15% off of the personal alarm, the birdie. And we have links on our Instagram on how to purchase those as well as we post on there quite often about the promo code.
Yes. And it is a personal alarm and it's non-violent. That's why we back it. It's a way to keep you safe. And that's really important. And I wish that there was no need for them, but there sure as shit is. So if you're walking at night or you feel uncomfortable, you pull that personal alarm and it will set off 130 decibel sound that is very loud.
Very loud.
It also has a flashing LED light on it. And they just launched a new product called Birdie Plus. So do check into that as well. Okay, so we will see you all next week. Wow.
I bet everyone has missed our awkwardness.
It's good times. So we will see you all next week with another episode of Murder Not Murdering. Bye.
Bye.